And welcome to another episode of Keto Las Vegas podcast with your host, Jimmy Hilton. And today in the studio, remote studio that is, here in East Las Vegas, I am joined with I would say a good friend now. We've had some great conversations and I've been looking forward to having this conversation with him. His name is Frank Montes. And I am so excited that he's here because we've tried forever and ever to get this conversation going. But I think that this conversation with this gentleman will be something that will encourage you on your keto journey. Always remember that as I have this show here, it is sponsored by Rosa's Keto Treats in Las Vegas. Actually, we're in Henderson, but we are here locally. And what we want to do here in this episode is always share with you the stories of local Las Vegans. So with that, here is Frank. So Frank, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, feel good, excited to be here. I know we've tried a lot
to get out here, most definitely. And no problem here. I know we have the boys here, so there's a little bit of a distraction if you guys can catch that, but Frank is doing great and the boys are doing great. Just what's the name of your boys here?
So this is Little Frankie and the other one is Marshall.
Marshall?
Number one and number two.
Number one, number two.
My wife told me a long time ago not to number them like that. That's how they came out.
And just a special shout out to Melissa who couldn't be with us today. But you know what? It was through Melissa that actually I met Frank because Melissa was the one who invited us, I believe, to your where you work at.
Yes.
So
every what is it? First Wednesday, I think.
It's every last Wednesdays.
Yeah, they have an event. It's an all-woman self-business. They hold it at the dealership that I work at, and it's small business Wednesday for women who have their business, and you guys.
Yeah, Rosa's Keto Treats. We came out, so it's and they advertise it as a ladies' night, and it's great. I mean, it was really for us. It was great because we're all in the showroom on that Wednesday night, though it's very far for us. But the great thing is when I met you, I got a chance to hear your story, and you know, from the time we met, I was like, okay, I like this guy right off the bat. And, you know, it's hard to find men in this space that really share their testimonies and reveal their pictures and everything else, because we know that it's really dominated by the women who have some amazing results. But man, men really do come out. And I think for anybody who's looking at health and you're really serious about your health, keto is the way to go. I mean, some people are doing it for weight loss. Others are doing it for certain health issues. So let's talk about your story. And first of all, what do you do at the dealership you work at?
So I work as an automotive technician. I've been an automotive technician since 2010. I'm a bumper-to-bumper technician.
So then did you start with keto first, or Melissa, how did it start?
So I'm going to just go straight from California. We moved from California to here in 2017. I came out here a month before the rest of the family. And when I moved out here from California, I was about 235, 240 pounds. We moved out here and we were just always eating out and like, man, this food is good. We loved ramen. I love ramen. And it's some of the best food. The year ended. We started a weight loss competition at work. And when I weighed in at work, I was 211.5 pounds. But the only reason why I participated in the weight loss competition was because I thought I was still 235, 240 pounds.
So you had actually started ahead of the...
No. I was so confident because I'm so heavy. But when I weighed in at the weight loss competition, you know, I didn't realize that I had lost so much weight already. But a lot of the weight that I lost was because of stress and depression and, you know, other life stuff that happens in life.
How much money was on the line for this contest?
I think it was about 750. We put it out there saying, hey, we're going to hold this weight loss competition. If you guys want to participate, this is going to be the buy-in.
Were you considering going keto to try to compete in this competition, or how did that come about?
No, I didn't know what I was going to do. We were already maybe 2 weeks in the weight loss competition. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't changing my diet. I wasn't doing nothing, but I was like, I'm going to lose my $50. And from the time the new year started and the time the weight loss competition, the 2 weeks in, I noticed that Melissa had started changing her eating habits. I was like, what are you doing? And she said that she was starting to do keto. But I was like, okay, well, I'll do it with you. I'll be your support system. And so, but I still didn't tell her that I was doing the weight loss competition, and I had forked over $50 to participate. We started doing keto together, and I just started shedding weight. Pounds started dropping off, and I almost gave up within the first 2 weeks because I was getting mad. I guess people say it's the keto flu or whatnot, but I was super mad. I was like, I can't take this anymore. I was starting to rage out. Probably the lack of carbs made you agitated. Yeah, that was agitated. And Melissa was like, she's just like, as I told her, I'm going to be your support system. She was like, when I wanted to give in and I wanted to go, because I love food. Food's good. She would tell me no, you can do it. And then after that, it was like a piece of cake, that I was able, after the first 2 weeks, I was able to continue to it. So we had downloaded the Carb Manager app. We're using that to calculate our carbs. So the app Carb Manager is what really kind of helped you to, as far as for you understanding, was it understanding how many calories you were putting in, or making sure you were staying in your fat range for consumption, or your macros? So, I wasn't, I don't know. I still don't know the macros and how all that stuff works out, because what it was is just okay, well, we're doing keto. People have suggested this Carb Manager app. So we downloaded it, and then I paid for the full subscription or whatnot. Right. And I had, just so we can watch, okay, we're intaking this many carbs, or, this is how many calories, because she had it set to what was good for her, and I had it set to what I wanted my calorie intake to be, and how many carbs I wanted to intake, and so on and so forth. So we were able to find meals. They have meal plans and everything on there, but we were able to find recipes and everything. Say, okay, let's try this out, and just helped out a lot like that. Did you find it hard? You work at the dealership pretty much all day long. Yes. A long period of time. So did you go and get into meal prepping to help you? So yeah, we started meal prepping. I would buy a gallon of water and just refill it all the time. We meal prepped for the week, for a couple days out of the week. And then I would have this is going to be my lunch. And then I would have just snacks every hour or two, just so I can, I'm not hungry, and then just drink a ton load of water, maybe a gallon of water, gallon and a half of water a day. Right. So then how long was the competition for? 2 months. 2 months. It went from January to March. Okay. You were 2 weeks behind because you really didn't get started. Correct. So that kind of took out 2 weeks out of your 12 weeks. We had the initial weigh-in, and I was like, man, I wasn't feeling too good about it. But yeah, so for the first 2 weeks I slacked off, and then when I started doing this thing with Melissa, we ended up having a midway weigh-in. Yeah. And so I started off at 211.5, and then when I weighed in at the halfway point, I was 196.6, but I was in fifth or sixth place in the weigh-in competition. And I was like, well, I'm not going to even come close. But I'm not even going to come close to losing or winning the thing, but I still didn't, once I was in there, I was like, well, I feel good. I like the way I'm eating. I haven't felt good like this in a long time. I felt energetic. I just felt good about life.
By the time you got to the end point, I don't know how they were judging. Was it based on percentage, or how did they come to that conclusion as far as a winner?
The individual who held or did everything as far as weigh-in and all that stuff, he did it off of body fat percentage.
Oh, okay.
So how he calculated it, I don't know, but I just knew that I wasn't at the top of the food. I wasn't at the number one spot. So when it came towards the end, when it came to the end, it actually came down between me and another individual. I had lost the most weight at the so I lost 31.2 pounds. But because we did off of body fat, the percentage, I had lost 14.8% of body fat, and the guy, so I won by 0.4% of body fat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just by 0.4%?
0.4%. I was just ecstatic. I was like, I looked at my before picture from a couple months before, and then I looked at my after picture, and I was like, yeah, I did pretty good, because a lot of people were telling me, oh, you look good. What are you? They thought I was smoking something. I had gone through maybe 2 or 3 belts, just because
changing Oh, I know what that means when the belt sizes go down. Yeah. So what was your original belt waist?
I believe I had a size 40 or 42 belt, but it was a mechanics belt. So, going down to like a size 34 belt.
I think to me, that's like the biggest thing, because somebody would say, well, 30 pounds, but when you're talking about waist size and you're talking about clothes, for me, when I was an extra large going down to a large, there's a difference. 30 pounds in 3 months, and actually technically
a month and a half, because like I said, the first 2 weeks I didn't even bother trying to lose the weight.
So now the final weigh-in at the end of the contest was about, how much were you down to?
I was at 180.3.
So 180.3. So technically, if you look at when you left California at 230, that's about 50 pounds total.
Correct.
Since you transitioned from California to Las Vegas. Here at the end of last year, we were talking, and you guys had just gotten back from California or something, and we were talking about how you were doing. And at that time, you were saying that maybe you weren't so consistent with keto. What was going on there?
In 2018, shortly after the weight loss competition, I lost my dad. He was going to the store. He was shot and killed. And, I tried keeping, focus and everything. Depression just started kicking in. Depression with that going on, working long hours, and so on and so forth. Just started letting myself go again, indulging in food, just to fill a void. It was a hard time for me. It's just a hard time. I've always found happiness in food because it just makes me happy. It tastes good.
So food was fueling the depression to kind of compensate in emotionally eating. That's what happened.
Correct. I was waking up at night to go, eat something or just get a quick snack or whatever, because I needed something to help me out, calm me down, or whatever it was that I needed. The anniversary date came up, and then his birthday, and so on and so forth. So I was like, I just have a lot going on, keeping track or whatever. I just let myself go. In that time, I was evaluating myself, and I was going to church at the same time too. I was like, I can't let problem in life keep me from moving forward. A little bit after his birthday in August of 2019, I was like, I gotta get out of this slump that I'm in, because when I was eating right, I was eating healthy, I was feeling good, and so I started doing keto again. Even during Christmas, that Christmas week or whatever, I started saying, okay, I'm not going to use Christmas as an excuse to overindulge. So I was using